Alright, just checking. Make sure that everything's good to go. Right, that should be it. Alright everyone, welcome to this implementation stream. Tonight I'm going to be showing you how to implement a ship static into battle stations midway and how hull numbers work in said game. I already took time before stream to go ahead and get the vast majority of the pre-setup stuff done, so that way this stream shouldn't take as long, hopefully. Some of the stuff is a bit time consuming, but most of that's out of the way. But statics, if you don't know, that is loud in my ear. That's better. These things, they literally serve no real purpose other than in midway, real ships can't actually be given a sync function like they can in Pacific. So, at least not that I'm aware of. So statics fill that spot. In the vanilla game, there was only like 2 types of statics. So what I'm going to be doing is replacing this one, the Phoenix, with a much more accurate model. The other thing about statics is, as you can see, the devs took away a lot of extra detail and stuff to make the file size smaller, because everything that's added to a static counts towards the file size, and since you have guns and stuff that have to be added to the static, that can add quite a bit to the file size. Me personally, I like having my statics be as close to representations of the real playable ships as possible. As you can see over here with my Pennsylvanias. Yeah, don't pay too much attention to that. I gotta re-UV map the shadow textures. But as you can see, the static and real ship are like very close, very similar. And that's what I want. That's what I'm willing to compromise with a higher file size for statics, considering that this is the only map that they will ever appear on. But with that out of the way, where is my light wave? So the thing about statics, you don't have to name them this way, but this is how the devs did them. But all statics are named as Kikotobi, which is Hungarian for some like port static or something. I don't remember. It's weird. But that's the naming system that I follow. Like I said, all my pre-stuff is pretty much done, other than the layering stuff. Which, let me go ahead and bring up my good old Arizona. Where are you, baby? Oh, because I moved all my files, that's why. It doesn't like it when I do that, evidently. Was it accessories or text? I mean, regardless, it ain't gonna be that big of a deal. Okay. So, I mean, I don't really need to divide this up into separate layers because I'm keeping everything. I am oh! So Warner C does have non-shielded 40mm quads. I didn't know that. Interesting. I'm going to do my own little special modifications to this model. Not doing the stream. Like for this, I'm going to get rid of these and probably put like a boat deck here. Try to get it to look more closer to a 1941 version. And all this will be replaced with the 28mm statics. But I don't really think I'm going to have to... where's my polygon count? Where's my vertices? Actually, I may have to divide this up just to get that count down a little bit lower. Should be fine, but I want to be safe on the safe side. So I'm going to actually rename you Hole A, Hole B, can I do a clean cut here? Yes. As close to a clean cut as I'm going to get with this little bulge and this kill line. Stabilizer thingy, whatever it's called. Okay, so that's that divided up. I want to get my main gun statics. Okay, that should be on the main guns. 5-inch statics. I mean, statics are a little bit more straightforward than doing a real ship. They have a lot less SDC slots to worry about, and they don't have a LOD layer. All the LOD stuff is handled by comments. At least that's what I assume, because looking at the TXMs for statics, I don't notice a dedicated LOD layer and comment like I do for real ships. Actually, this layer is fine. I shouldn't have to take anything off of this one. You, though, I'm actually going to separate you one more time. Take everything after this. Ooh. Okay. What I'm actually going to do is just move all this down. Okay. Move you up here. And then that should be all that taken care of. Okay. Alright, oh, that's good. I will wait about no, might as well go ahead and do that now. Okay. So I'm gonna go over this right quick before I do this. So colliders and hitboxes, they do gear. But as you imagine, the colliders a little bit more to it than just a normal collider, because obviously like, you have the main guns here. Uh, so for this model, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep the main guns, the catapults, and the crane. But I think I'm going to get rid of most everything else. And for the hitbox, it's just one body. It's literally just the body armor index, and that's it. They don't get anything else for the hitbox. And as I said, they don't get a dedicated LOD layer. That's all that's handled by comments. So I'm going to save that for last, but I am going to go ahead and get my hull armor set up. So I long had a suspicion on how hull numbers were set up. I always thought that they was their own individual models that was layered onto the main ship model. And that there had to be something there to tell it to show up. I was right. But I had to convert a MR file to TXM. And then looking through here, these are the hull numbers. This is what they're called. And so each, and this is for both statics and real ships for the US. British ships didn't get hull numbers in BSM. But this is how hull numbers are set up in Lightwave. Now, I had to actually extract a vanilla model to even get the hull numbers to begin with. And what I did is, where did I put them? I went through each individual number and extracted it and made it its own thing from 0 to 9, just to make it easier for me to create new hull numbers. That was a pain and a very time-consuming task. Hull numbers are kind of time-consuming, unfortunately. But how they're set up is they have 3 layers. Layer number 1 can be deleted because it causes clipping issues for some odd reason only on the port side of the ship. I don't understand it, but that's what happens. So that first, the hull number part 1, as I had it then, can be, that first log can be deleted. The textures that they get is this thing here. Let's see if I can actually find that to blow it up a little bit. What's that even pronounced as? F-E-A-E. Okay, this are the whole number textures. That's for the black. And of course they get the normal stuff. I've also found out some new stuff about blanks and specs and stuff. I will talk to you about in a moment. And then the white texture is FEHE. This one. So those are the only two textures you need for the whole numbers. And again, they get the ship number mesh name. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create two whole numbers. Go ahead and get those done. I'm going to do a new object, please. What was the Brooklyn's whole numbers? What's the best way to go about this? Brooklyn class. Yes, 1937. Phoenix is. Phoenix is a bit lower down the list, unfortunately, so we have Brooklyn and Philadelphia. Okay. So if you're going to extract whole numbers, they have them in sort of like this V shape. But you can't just take that. Like, I will show you. This is actually not the right one to use. Use this one. What are they normally set to? Oh, that's the Lord. If I've ever seen one. That's the guns. I wonder if that was the collision layer then. There we go. Yeah, how they have them set up in this, you can't actually use them like this. They seem to, because this right here is the visible layer. This back here, this is the invisible layer. So I literally had to redo whole numbers. Not entirely from scratch, but it was a very time consuming and pain in the butt process. Essentially, I had to flip them and move them around to get this on this side, this on this side, to get the right spot, the right ones to show up on the right side. To get them like this. And I'm about to show you the process I use for actually doing whole numbers. So what I want to do is find that again. So I need 4, 0, and 1. Okay. And numero uno. Okay. Number 4. All the way down here. Okay. Where's your 20? Alright, let me begin. Alright, so what you just want to do, move this up until this top layer here is flat. And then move this over until this bottom layer is flat. There we go. They don't have to be absolutely perfect. Because if you ever looked at the vanilla model, you can tell that the devs didn't put them right up against the hull. Bring it up just a little bit. Okay. So go ahead and copy y'all to this layer. Alright, 0, your turn. Now, Battle Station Specific does it a bit differently. I don't know exactly how they do it. I have a suspicion. Battle Stations Midway, they limited themselves to 8 hard numbers. I don't know if that is a hard limit. I haven't experimented with that to find out. That is something that is on my to-do list. But typically in Midway, you have a total of 8 different hard numbers to choose from. And there you choose the number 1 through 8, and that would tell you what whole number will show up. Uh-oh. Actually, I want you to go down. There we go. Bring it down a little bit more. But in Pacific, all you had to do was type in whatever number you wanted to show up, and it will show up. So what I'm assuming that Pacific does, they still have to have something up against the model to show where the number will show up at. So what I'm guessing they did on there is they had something placed on the model, and they gave a comment, because their ship number mesh name appears in Pacific as well. So something has to have that name. So bring you up. Close enough. But how I'm thinking they did it is they just had a number generator sort of things, something that they put on the hull, and then told there's some sort of comment or something, and then that tells it to whatever number you put into the script file will show up there. I haven't taken time to reverse engineer it, but that is my working theory, shall we say. Okay, now I want to bring y'all to up. Phone. And then y'all two will get put here. And I need to change this as well. And then 421. I can delete the zeros, don't need them anymore. The other thing about hard numbers is they do add, as you would assume, to the file size. Don't need this one anymore. And I'm done with you. So I guess if hard numbers aren't hard-coded in number limit, I would assume that's another reason why they limited themselves to 8. Now, how to add new whole numbers to existing models or swapping out? Well, we'll be swapping out. I don't know if there's a way to do it without having to rebuild the models from extracting the models into OBJ format and then rebuilding them. Okay, there's my ones. Okay, that'll be fine for y'all. You go on this side. That looks like good spacing. Then you to the other. Come back down a little bit more. There we go. And that looks good. Yeah. Yeah. Now that section is done with. Now we gotta actually apply them to the hull. This is the fun part. Okay. So where do I want this to appear at? Yeah, right there looks good. Yeah, yep, here comes the fun part. So okay, I need this to actually be rotated this way. Getting this to line up as perfectly as possible is going to be a bit of a pain. Like I said, the devs themselves didn't slap it right up against the hull. They had it out like a little bit farther, but I like to put mine up against the hull just in case. It happens to look a bit odd. Like, can I put that down a little bit? Nope. Okay. Yeah, that looks fine. But I do need it to rotate a little. Yeah, that looks good. Now the other side. This is when I say hard numbers are very time consuming. I've gotten better and faster at it, but it's still oof. That's not rotating the way I want it to. Why? Alright, zero work with me here. Why is this looking so odd from this angle? Probably because I have it tilted a little bit too far. That's probably why. Also need to tilt it that way a little bit. Okay, that looks a lot better. Can I bring this in just a tiny bit? Yeah. Okay, so that's the first one done. Now the second one. I can tell you right now, if I ever get around to like the larger destroyer classes, I am probably not going to do like 100+ hull numbers. That ain't happening. I will hire someone to do that before I ever do that. I mean, I'll help them out, obviously, but like, don't ask for 150 hull numbers because they ain't happening by my hand alone. I can guarantee you that. Okay. Need my one to come out. Four, you need to go back a tad bit. Maybe not that far. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. And I need to rotate you this way just ever so slightly. There we go. Yep. Last one. For now. I have to add the other ones at a later date. But four needs to come. Actually, I need the whole thing to go down a little bit more. That looks good. But how are we looking up against the hull? One, you need to go way back. Out a little bit. That looks good. Alright, that's hull numbers done as far as the Mauler stuff goes. So, as far as actually getting hull numbers in on Lightwave, that's how you do it. Again, it's a pretty tedious and time consuming. Actually, gonna bring these down a little bit more. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to. No? Okay. No adjustment necessary. Now, you. Probably leave it like that. So that means I can bring you back just a little bit. There we go. Alrighty. That's hard numbers taken care of. Now the only other thing left to really do is collider and hitbox. Did I spell that correctly or did I goof? Okay. Now obviously this is going to take a little bit with manual culling. So I think what I'm going to do is put on some background music while I work on these two layers. I mean, I've always showed this off in my Negata tutorial, so there's really no sense in explaining anything here. On the video, y'all can just skip past all this. No, this is going to take some time. Okay, I think I'm finally done with all that. So as always, colliders get the come on. The hashtag Utkozo hashtag, I believe. Yes. Hashtag Utkozo hashtag. Looks like a pretty good collider. And the hitbox is pretty much the same. I'll take off a little bit more detail for a hitbox, but I'm really not going to worry too much about that right now. And then the hitbox is literally just, as I said before, one giant body. So this at body space armor index equals 1. And I want to make this green. And so, okay. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. Right, I think that's everything now. Got all my stats, I got my hard numbers, got all my heartbroken, why did it hit bot? Right, so the only thing left now is the rest of the texturing and comment. I have... Hello? Mouse? I have got to buy me a new mouse. Please don't die on me. Okay. There it is. Okay, so as I was saying, I have noticed or discovered some new intel about texturing stuff. Actually, I do need to make my railing double-sided and my propellers double-sided. There we go. Okay. That should be all the double-sidedness I have to do. Okay, so before I was doing blanks and then spec and bump, a lot of these models already come with their own stuff. So you don't actually have to use blanks for luminosity and diffuse. Luminosity gets and I noticed this as well with this is I'm going to use this as an excellent. Okay, so you have your main texture. Then you have these. You have your mesh. You have your main texture. Then you have these four. This Japo no color is essentially a blank. I'm done with that. Right here. I don't know what the base color is for. I haven't seen it unless it's for planes. But this right here goes in the luminosity. And then your shadow textures go in diffuse. So I haven't tried this with Warner C models. I'm going to try that on this. But you may not have to overlay your AO with your main textures. You can just put them in the diffuse as a shadow. And then spec and bumps have their own, so each texture has a spec and bump version. Now, for War on the Sea models, they have. So you have your main textures and your accessory textures and your transparencies. Then you have your AO, which is your shadow textures, and then you have these two, which I am assuming are a type of spec and bump. The reason why I say that is because they are laid out similarly to how BSM spec and bump textures are set up. So if I look at a spec, you can see that they have their own stuff going on here. So like the superstructure specs are like that same gray tone. And then bumps, while these are blue, they are pretty bare bones. Which is why I'm assuming that those textures for War on the Sea are the spec and bumps. I haven't tried this, so this is going to be my first time trying that. So we'll see how it looks in game. But for Luminosity and Diffuse, I believe you still have to front project them. But you no longer have to worry about blanks. So you just go find that Japo no color. And apply it. Okay, I'm going to do first so I can go ahead and have a fully updated model. Oh, there is one thing I did forget. Okay, so fruit, and then where's that Jeppo right there? And then diffuse would be our shadow texture. We'll see how this looks in game. And then spec would be, I assume, similarly. Okay, that's my book. Would be my M, and then my bumps would be my N. I'm assuming. I mean, it tracks. But as I said, we shall see. Okay, so that should be my texturing done. There's one more thing we have to do, and that is our SDC slots. Now, statics. I mean, looking at the vanilla static here, you can tell that they kept a lot of the slots from the real ship. But you don't actually need to have all these slots. Because statics are, like I said, they're the static. The only real use for them in midway is to be able to be used for a sync function. And that's it. Real ships can't do that like they can in Pacific. So for slots, the only thing that we actually really need for them, and I think I'm done with this model. So I need to get my... Yeah, But don't even need that. The only really thing you need is the bottom line of deck line. Though again, I'm not so certain you really need that. I keep it in just to be on the safe side. You don't need the Kimini, the waves, or any of that. The only real thing you need, besides maybe bottom line and deck line, is the fire. You have to have that or it will crash. I learned that the hard way. And then your flags. But fire is pretty much the only major critical thing you have to have. Because if you do like any fire effects or anything like that, like Pearl Harbor shows, and you don't have that, it will crash. You don't technically need this for real ships, but it does help to put it because whenever you have a fire in the fuel tank, it will spot that wherever you put that slot will spawn the fire. And I need to go back to a lot of my models and add that. Otherwise, it would just pick a random place for it to do it. And yeah. Where did my model go? Okay, so what I'm going to need to do is bottom line, deck line, fire, and my flag. And I want to save you as Kikotobi SDC. Or Kikotobi. Alrighty, so my bottom line first. As you can see, even with the using those, they still function the same thing as blanks. Alrighty, so that should be my bottom line done. Alright, this is definitely need to be adjusted. Yeah. Okay. Because you have that flare going on at the top. Hmm. That'll do. My last bit. Okay, that looks good. Right in my fire. Actually, I don't even think that one gets a fire because she just because they switch it out with a damaged version. Okay, the Pearl Harbor mission map uses quite a few functions that are never used ever again throughout the game or even in the Pacific. So one of the ones, so a lot of the missions in the campaign utilize the reload function when you change phases. So the Pearl Harbor map, one of the first phase changes it changes the skybox and lighting, which for a long time we didn't think was actually possible, but it is possible to change the entire skybox, lighting, and anything else. Because during one phase they changed out the M mods for the Atlanta static from the undamaged to the destroyed. And the final phase they delete all the ships, the landmass, all of that. But there are quite a lot of functions that are not used again. But I will say that I do plan to use some of those functions in Overhaul. Especially like the changing of the weather or daytime, nighttime. So like the second naval battle of Guadalcanal. Daytime attack on the transports, nighttime the naval battle. Now my flag. Yeah, it's quite interesting. But where do I actually want to put this flag? Not really a good spot to put it. See if I can't find a spot down here. That'll do. I mean, I guess I could go ahead and add the bow sun waves. Won't hurt. Well, she does kind of have like a flow going on at the stem as well. Interesting. Okay, so that's slots. That's all we need for the statics. And I've got my hull numbers. Actually, I do need to. So yeah, this first slot here for the hull numbers, delete. Don't need it. Also, make sure you give it the ship number mesh. And I'm going to go ahead and close and reload. Just so I can have you on the bottom. Alright, and now I think that's it. I think we're now ready for layout. Okay, so now for comics. So this is the other stuff I figured out by looking into the TXM. So this is what I say, static models do not get a LOD layer. They get this other LOD. These two comets here handle LOD, and along with your long distance LOD comet. And in each of you, okay, bring it back. So this is the comment for the whole numbers. So as you see, 1 through 8, and then they also get a LOD comment for them as well. So each layer gets these 3 comments. And none of those have to worry with it. And then this. Glider, hitbox, and STCs don't get anything. Oh, that's because, yeah, I need to fix that. Okay, I need to fix that because that's been changed. Glider and hitbox and STCs don't get any comments. I forgot to make those changes to that model when I got rid of its hitbox. Statics can have hitboxes. But I'm still trying to figure out some of the intricacies with the scripting in the Pearl Harbor map to get it to work. I got them working, it's just getting the game to delete said models after they're no longer needed is what I'm struggling with. So then these comments here, the Shazam. Okay. Shazam 1, Shazam 2, up to 8. Again, I don't know if you can have more than 8. That's something I've been meaning to check out. And then this LOD comment. And then that should be it. Yep, that should be it. I'm gonna save you. Just make certain that all my stuff is fine. Yes, okay. Right, we're ready to export. Let's hope that model viewer is happy. Yep. And then again with your whole numbers. There we go. All this is happy. Okay. So now I need to get all of that into there. What was the final size of this anyway? I'm interested to see. Pushing up 8 megabytes. That's actually not too bad. I'm impressed. And get me all my textures. Oh, I got that one. Oh, I got that one, so I'll just need these four. Alrighty. So there is still a little bit of setup left to do. So we need to go into our globals and then find the pH models. Pearl Harbor ships. Interesting that they have a damage for Clemson and Texas, but they don't appear in game. Do they even have models for them? So that's the destroy model, which I do need to actually do one for this one. Which I need to figure out how that one's done. So they don't actually have one for that. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, anyway. Gonna do pH. Brooklyn. What numbers have I not used? So 950 doesn't appear in there, but does it appear in here? So it doesn't exist, so we shall see. Now I think these appear twice. Yes. Alright, so then that we're done in there. Now vehicle class is a very simple setup. I need to figure out where they are though. Okay, here we go. So these are the land fort stuff. So statics are pretty much just a land fort. They're given the type land fort, but as you can see, fake type to give it what it will appear as in game on the map. As I said, there is no slots that they are able to use. Now you can use the model up here with the real ships, and it will appear in mission as a real ship. But there's all kinds of craziness for them. So where's the Atlanta? That's the damaged. Interesting how they have this Veneer show. What? That's interesting. It's pretty interesting seeing what all the devs had planned. So I needed to actually keep this. Alright, where is this one I'm looking for? Okay, where are you at? Oh, okay, he was up underneath this one. So let's copy one. And I gave it what, 950? 950. Landfoot Cruiser. I'm gonna name this Brooklyn. Where is my file? Alright, we should be done. So where is Pearl Harbor now? There we go. Phoenix. And then, yes, I want to change you to 1. I'm also going to change Alan this for the sake of starting off the whole number. Right, now everything should be good now, so now we can just load up the game. And here's hoping that everything works. No crashy, please. Yeah, we've recently also figured out how to access and modify the briefing screens and stuff, so that would be something that Overhaul will be doing as well. Okay. There she is! I'm questioning whether the shadow textures actually apply. They don't look like they did. So I will have to overlay my shadow textures. But, I mean, she don't look too bad. She does look a bit dark, though. But beyond that, there is our Brooklyn static. Wowzers. They definitely did double check that quality. But that's going to get changed anyway. But yeah, so there's our whole number. Looks pretty good. Yeah, I haven't changed it on this one, but this is what I was talking about. It has a habit of having clipping issues that only affects this side of the ship for some reason. I don't know why. It's weird. So the only way to fix that is to delete that first slot, and then it's fine. And then go over to this one, and then there's our second whole number. So that's how you do statics and whole numbers in BSM. So yeah, so as far as the blanks go, the Jepo no color can work fine. But if you want to use blanks, you can as well. But the shadow textures, yes, for these models, you're going to have to overlay them. But it seems like the specky bumps are fine. It doesn't look too bad. Now I gotta do a destroyed one for when the mission changes. I can have a more accurate model here. But let me show you the vanilla whole numbers right quick. So as you can see, and this is what really confirmed it for me. If I can get, you can see how that it doesn't line up against the hull. That was pretty much the smoking gun to me that said, okay, this is a separate model that's overlaid onto this. And by looking to the TXM files, that really helped. That really cracked the code, so to speak, for that. But yeah, as I said, that's how you can do statics and hull numbers in BSM. That's all I've got. Like the stream in the video if you enjoyed it. If you was able to learn something new. Consider subscribing to be notified. I hate you, mouse. But consider, what was I? Oh yeah, consider subscribing so you can be notified when I do new videos or live streams. And yeah, until next time, goodbye everyone.